Let me ask you a question. What would you do if one of your subordinates, who is harvesting energy from an abnormality to meet the quota, shall face certain death doing so? This is a very basic question, so I'm certain you know the right answer. I'll save the employee because I'm epic and pog build. It's so simple. I cannot believe I have to remind you. The manager's role is to oversee energy production, and that only. You are not here to take care of the employees. Not that I've known you for a long time, but I never took you for such a humanitarian. Lobotomy Corporation's industry giant, and its mission is to produce energy as our top priority. It was such a simple question for me, however, mayhaps not for you. If I were human, how disappointing, is what I would have had said. Please don't worry, I will not make such a statement. I mean, you've exceeded my expectations, despite your first impression. Allow me to explain your next... Yesod, I just heard that your team had a ton of casualties. How many times has it been now? Shouldn't you be at your team's side? It looks super depressing over there. Accidents happen. I want them to understand that it's not a big fuss, and dwelling on it only encourages them to cry more, and it will eventually tire them out. But people have died. Maybe you should say something like at least some half-hearted commemorative speech to cheer the employees up. I mean, we should lead our department and all. Perhaps your aim is different from mine then. I see no point in being sentimental. Caring too much about the respect of employees or the little complaints they make will steer you away from what's truly important. Well, I'm just saying, I guess there's no right answer, is there? We're both busy, so I'll see you later. What do you think, manager? Should I go comfort them for the sake of the department's morale? Let's just be buddy-buddy. Then let's say no. A gesture of goodwill without sincerity is nothing more than an act of diplomacy, after all. We're not the ones whose lives are on the line. We don't live with the risk of every moment possibly being the last. Nor are we always so close to death touch as not have any attachment to life or worldly values. I disagree with the way Hod copes with it. She just seeks to comfort her own mind and turns a blind eye to reality. It'd be much more helpful to work hard to find ways to minimize casualties in the future. Yesod's second mission is a lot close. It's pretty much the same as his first. It's just insight instead of instinct, and one more mission. I mean, work than the last time, but it's still just a pulse check. And finally, we'll get our first upgrade for Yesod's department information. Much like Malkuth, a lot of stuff is pretty much just like basic gameplay stuff. Like how Malkuth had fast forward time, and recall and agents work on other abnormalities in the main menu. Yesod has, for example, CHP damage, CHP bars, and also buff clerks. And that is also, I prefer HP bars as the first upgrade just because it's by far the most useful. And that's what I have to say about that. Hello and welcome back to the Lobotomy Corporation, and once again I have to change how I approach the day. I think I'm still gonna have Goomb up here working with Repression on Fragment, but also have Mr. Black working Temperance with it. And then we're moving these two down into Information. And I think I'll hire a new employee to work with these two, because we need a third one to be more efficient with the meltdowns. But because of the HE's stat floor, we have to level someone's temperance up with Lob. And Marie's is slightly lower, so I think it's slightly more efficient for her to do it instead of Goom, but I'm not sure. But we still heard this. It's only 3 Lob, but I don't like spinning Lob. Whatever. Holy crap, Moraine Fire Emblem. Holy crap, Moraine Fire Emblem. What do I give her? I also shuffle around the egos now. We do have some new Teth stuff. I probably want to get that equipped because we don't have much in terms of Teth equipment. Such a little effort of all the new stuff. Sheep. And then beautiful. It's just like the game. It's just like Fire Emblem. Holy crap, Moraine. So just to reiterate, the plan here is Marie works with New Boy, B doesn't really do much in this plan. Little effort does temperance with this. Probably B does temperance with this too. A couple works with her in that. Christopher does this on Meltdown like normal. Moraine works with these two on Meltdown, and then probably some other times in the middle of the day, because probably gonna go as far as I did yesterday. Mr. Black works temperance with this, and Goom works justice with this, and possibly temperance. I don't know. I'm gonna probably improvise partially. We also did the 5 insight works, and we'll get to that bridge when it gets there. I'm not really sure what I'll do with that. But it's not gonna be much of an issue, because it's only 5. That's like 1 Meltdown level. Porccubus is an HE level abnormality that does black damage. It has an instant kill on any... A soft staff warrior is the best way to phrase this. It'll instantly kill any employee who is below temperance level 4 if they get a good work result. I was unable to get footage of this happening because... I don't know. You guys have just had bad question mark luck. So it's not super common. But I still don't want to work on anything temperance 3 or lower employees personally. Just the risk. It's not just RNG after all. It has a Quilthoth counter of 2. If you get a bad work with it, its counter decreases, and if you get a good work, its counter increases. This is the first abnormality we have that has a way to increase its counter. Its breach isn't super dangerous because it doesn't move, but it has high HP. It does high white damage to temperance level 3 or lower employees when it's breaching. It's worth noting that because it does white damage when it's breaching, it's pretty difficult for us to take down right now, because only Marie has enough temperance to not take the extra white damage, and she's wearing a white weak suit. Its best work rate is an instinct, but really instinct, insight, and attachment can all be used for training efficiently with its work. And you probably won't get bads on them, unless you're really unlucky. Even if you get a bad, you can just switch to instinct, which is the highest out of all of them, to get its Quilthoth counter back up to avoid a breach. Its weapon has a low damage stat, but it's an HE tier weapon, and it has a special ability that causes white damage. Extra white damage is not listed to the enemies it hits. I think it's decent for DPS, I don't know. I only know the Aleph DPS, the best weapons in that class. So I don't know, it'll fall off eventually. Its suit is not great, just because it's a red week. And we're still in the part of the game where that's not really bad. That is really bad. I also don't like its ego gift, just because it gives you a -6 to temperance, but plus 10 SP is decent. I don't know, personally I don't like it. Overall, it's a pretty alright abnormality as long as you have a way to get employees up to temperance level 4 to work on it efficiently, because it can train so many different stats. And well, now it's time to start the day, like always. As I said earlier, the plan is just to have Marie work on Porccubus exclusively, and then everyone else basically just do the same as we've been doing on other days. I want to at least get some of Porccubus's equipment right now, just because it'll be handy having our first HE level equipment, even though Porccubus isn't really the best, and it's not really worth rushing for. It's also worth noting that this is literally, I've done 2 runs of this game, counting this one, and both times Porccubus has been my first HE level abnormality. It was a lot worse than my original facility because we had no attachment trainers for a long time, and you managed to get 2 attachment gated abnormalities that were HE level really early, and that was really annoying. I think I either used Porccubus to get someone up to attachment level 4 and then had them work on it, or I just spent Lob again. I'm not sure. I think it was the first option though, because I don't remember spending any Lob on stats. Except for one case with an abnormality that we haven't seen yet, and I wouldn't have to spend Lob on this time anyway. We can't see Porccubus's coolth off counter, but it already decreased. Yeah, see, it's already 1. Marie just did a really bad job, which is just unlucky, but since Porccubus's counter can be increased, we don't have the same risk we did with Fragment earlier. Remember, when Fragments decreased, we had to stop working it as aggressively because at the time, it breaching would pretty much end our attempt of the day. But with Porccubus, we can increase its counter by just getting good work. So as long as we don't get another bad in a row, we'll be fine. If we didn't spend Lob on Marie, we would have no way to increase it safely. We'd have to sacrifice an employee, but there's really no reason not to just have a Temperance 4 employee working on it. As much as I don't like Porccubus's gift, since we're working it so aggressively, Marie's almost guaranteed to get it too, so whatever. Fun fact, there are 4 different Dawns, and I'm exclusively getting Crimson Dawn, even in the non-canon days. I think I've gotten Amber Dawn, like, once in a day that I proceeded to lose to Amber Dawn. It was one of the attempts at day 6. There are 4. I've seen 2. How? Ironically, I'd say the 2 that I've seen are the 2 most difficult ones, too. Oh well. I'll talk about Amber Dawn more in depth later when it actually shows up for a day. It'll probably be completely eclipsed and out of difficulty by the time it shows up for a day. It's actually, like, recorded though, whatever. Moraine is the least equipped for fighting Crimson, so I had her started. Everyone else is good enough at fighting. I moved people down at the Porccubus hallway because we really don't want it breaking out right now. It's just like how what I was moving people into Fragment earlier. I still did for today, even though we can deal with Fragment, just because I figured it'd be less annoying to do it that way, and it ended up being rewarded. Porccubus's counter is still at 1, so I don't really want to work on it too risky. We still have to do that mission for Yesod though. But I was planning to make this day a bit long anyway, much like yesterday, because stats. I'm trying to get Little Effort and possibly be up to 4 Temperance with Void Dream, so that they can also work on Porccubus tomorrow, so it'll be more than just Marie. I hit a normal on Fragment, so its counter went down. It's just RNG in that stage. I believe it was actually Mr. Black working on that. Mr. Black's Temperance is pretty low though, so it's not unexpected that I'll get normals or bads. I don't remember exactly how much Temperance influences work results. I think it's a little less than you'd think. It's really smart to just pause when a meltdown happens and just deal with it from there. I've had to do it very much earlier just because there was so much going on in the day. I had Mark with Porccubus right now just because Marie's the only one who can. She needs time to heal, but she should be fine now. And it says Christopher's uncontrollable because he's getting a drink. He was in the animation, so you couldn't order him to do anything. The uncontrollable thing will show up on the menu as long as... There are a lot of different things that can cause it. I think that's the only one we have right now, though. Maybe they're probably listed as uncontrollable and Void Dream puts them to sleep, actually, now I think about it. I've immediately lied, I'm sorry. I don't really know why I started having Moraine work on things outside of meltdowns. I guess I just wanted to raise her stats a bit. Because again, this is post-commentary. I don't remember what I was thinking while I was playing the game. Oh wait, I remember now. I wanted to have her work with Fragment. I just wanted to boost her stats up so she could work on it more safely. That was it. Tomorrow. I wanted to have her work on Fragment. The main character of this facility, Fragment of the Universe. Although although Porccubus might steal that spot soon. My first facility, we had no attachment trainers. Porccubus is a very difficult thing to work with. For a long time, only the Goomb in that facility could work with it efficiently without dying, and so I kind of had Goomb be the only work on it. I want to get some dialogue from, I want to see what their dialogue was, because I'm only used to seeing level 5 agent dialogue, because you see it a lot longer. Lore, you know. What's nice about the HP bars is that they actually let you see both HP and SP, which, I mean, is probably to be expected now I think about it. But it's just a lot, it's very nice to just be able to see that information at a glance instead of just having to open up a whole menu for it. Although it's probably a bit more better, I'm going to say, to leave the menu up for suppressions and things like that. It's really just for better access to information. Don't rely on just looking at the HP bars, because that's probably a bit too much attention to be zooming into employees and stuff. I don't really know what I'm saying anymore. I've lost my train of thought. Because this workday runs a bit long. I guess I could just say this. Fun fact, besides one sin, Porccubus is literally the only abnormality I have right now. That was in my original playthrough. He's in the same department too. I just got him one day later than I did the first time. I am cursed with always taking Porccubus, I guess. Originally, when I was gonna record the commentary for Porccubus, I was gonna say it's not really that good, but I thought about it, and it's better than I was gonna get credit for. It's a fairly easy breach to deal with once you have people who can resist damage. We don't really right now, but we will soon-ish. And you want easy breaching abnormalities because later in the game, not even that much later, there's a mission coming up where we have to suppress 4 different abnormalities. Right now we have 3 different breaching abnormalities, so we're almost on track to clearing that mission as soon as it pops up, which is very nice for efficiency's sake. There's quite a few that require to breach abnormalities, but there are only 2 that require to suppress uniques, and the other one is all lefts. We have no lefts right now. We can't even get any lefts right now. Marie just casually gets in a perfect work with Porccubus. I really thought by this point she'd have its gift, but I was a bit surprised that she didn't. That's probably the reason why I paused so long. The reason is just because she didn't need healing because she got a perfect work, so she took no damage from that work. I was just double checking. I thought she might have had the gift. She did not. I don't really like its gift just because it subtracts from stats. I like the gifts that only add to stats, but it's plus 10 to SP is also a lot more than most gifts give you, so I can see why it subtracts. It doesn't make me have to like it though. If I did not use Lob to boost Marie's Temperance, that perfect work could have killed her, by the way, which is why I don't like working on Porccubus with non-Temperance 4 employees. If you try to work on it as repression, it's only bad slot. Just do it clear up meltdowns too. It'll probably breach, and we can't deal with its breach either. Spinning Lob is just definitely the best choice in how to operate with it. Moraine got the 1 sin gift, so now she is Jesus Moraine. Christopher is still Jesus Hobo Christopher. Anyone who works with Crowns of Thorns is Jesus according to me. We have multiple Jizai in this compound. I'm trying to, when I'm working with Porccubus, right now I'm just trying to spread out between Insight and Instinct. She should see pretty large gains to both at the end of the day. Just because of, she keeps ending the work with relatively low health, and it's an HE, so it trains more efficiently than our Teths and Zayans do. This is a pretty large meltdown. Because again, meltdown level 6, we don't normally go this long. In fact, later on, this is where dusks start to show up, I think. 5 and 6 and 7, I believe it's those three, it selects one of them for dusks, and once the dusks start showing up, we'll probably stop taking days this long, because dusks are dangerous. I don't remember exactly when the dusks show up, because I only know when the midnights and the dawns show up precisely. Because they always show up at the same level, and the dusks and the noons don't always show up on the same level. Those are all levels of ordeal, by the way, threat levels. Dawns are teths, and noons are he's, or HEs, and then dusks are was, and midnights are alephs, in terms of damage resistance. Also, because Porccubus is an HE, if it breaches, it'll take less damage from our Zayn equipment and deal more damage to people wearing Zayn armor. And we still have people wearing Zayn armor using Zayn equipment right now. So that's just something to keep note of. There's grace on like one of the sides. I can't remember if it's the armor side or the damage side, so I can't remember how our Teth weapons would interact with it and suits. I don't have the damage chart memorized. And really, it's not really important to know the minutiae of how damage works, you just need to know that your weapons fall off in effectiveness. By the end game, you should have enough LF weapons to outfit most people in the facility with, and Marie got her second bad work. She's clearly done amazing so far. Not being that sarcastic. I mean, a couple of bad works is to be expected when we work with 9 times in one day. Finishing off a day, we just have B working on Void Dream again, just trying to bump her up to 4 Temperance. It's not that Temperance, is it? I have to admit, I wasn't expecting to get so many Temperance trainers, and then a thing that requires high Temperance. That's kind of funny, especially after yesterday. Whatever. I just spoke of it. And we have fairly high stat gains for Marie. She's been promoted straight from 2 to 4, which is about what you expect when you spend the entire day working with an HE. Everyone else has just had mostly minor stuff, and I believe that both Little Effer and B still didn't promote to level 4 Temperance, so only Marie's still the only one who can work efficiently with it. Yes, I was correct. So tomorrow we'll probably have to train more with Temperance with them, and probably some with Mr. Black and Goom too. And so we have another 3 options. Tier 978, the final chapter begins with the phrase born again. Tier 990, save us now and forevermore, the truth set us 3. 996, eventually intellect loses all meaning as they forget even how to exist. This is another 3 tools, and I only remember one of these. Actually, I remember 2 of these. I don't remember 90. These are both equipable tools with downsides that are pretty easy to work around. Although one of them is a bit easier to work around than the other. That is 96 is easier than the other. But I'll just do the roll. Don't expect anything great because they're all tools. And I got 96. It's actually the first tool I got. And now it is time for Flower Lore. To be frank, life in this place isn't so great. The company says they provide healthy hobbies, but not people engage in that notion. Everyone looks for their own escape, be it violence, gambling, gluttony. I thought I had strength and self-control and discipline compared to others. It did help me lead a smoother life. Maybe that's the reason I was assigned to Porccubus's containment unit. Yes, Porccubus, where the lowest of the low employees visit. I heard a bit about what other employees do in that containment unit. They call it the Game of Trust. A game of trust, what an elegant thing to name it. According to all other employees, it wouldn't be too difficult to become intimate with it. But once I get along with it, I can acquire all of it with ease. They say that when the time comes, Porccubus will lean down so I could easily reach the thorns. It didn't take long until I got where I could pet it. When I first touched the thorns, it felt quite prickly. It felt like a giant needle penetrated my skin. Though there wasn't any bleeding and the pain went away after a moment, then there it was, the most intense happiness you'd ever experienced. It'd make your knees weak. When I snapped out of it, I found myself drooling. It scared me, so I didn't go back for a while. Then the situation gets worse. You'll get withdrawal symptoms like retching or sweating. Different employees share different symptoms. One employee even just pulled out all their teeth because they felt like bugs were crawling all over them. How it felt, I can't just find the words to describe it. Remember the greatest happiness you ever felt in your life. This feeling would be 100 times better. You say I'm the last employee in charge of Porccubus. As understandable as the brain craves more intense stimulation. At first, all I had to do was be lightly pricked on one of the thorns, and after rub my whole body against it to get the same high. I feel like all the blood in my body will rush to my head, eventually bursting it. I've already imagined my head bursting thousands of times anyhow. I have to get going, it's almost time for work. Actually, I'm drenched with sweat right now, did you notice? Oh, and Porccubus doesn't show any aggression, unlike your speculation. It didn't eat us or bite our heads off or anything. All the corpses were smiling. Happily, that's all. It just makes people smile until death. No one is to blame. We have to go through hell every day. We're just having a small taste of heaven. And you know what? I feel sorry for you. You've never felt those feelings, you never will. But you have to interview an employee on the edge like me. I'll pretend to be decent. Now it's time for my head to burst. Good day. What a beautiful story.